YouTube? Welcome back to Russ's Rad Reviews. It is hotter than hell in here, legitimately. If you guys haven't seen our last video, go look at it, because that's why I just said that. Alright, so today's album is actually a pretty special album, and before we get into the review, I want to make something pretty clear for you guys. The album that we're doing is for a band that we got in contact with and we mentioned that we would do a review of their album, and they were all for it. We are not sponsored by this band to do this album. What I mean by that is they did send us the album for free, but they are not paying us to do a positive review, and so we are going to give a very thorough and honest review, just like our other reviews.
It is positive though.
Right, yes.
Don't think it's like we're gonna crap all over it. No, it's good. Okay, so today we're going over Love Stallion's debut album, Unforgettable Ride.
Unforgettable Ride was released on June 2nd, 2018, and it was produced by Steve Avedis, A-V-E-D-I-S. That's all the information that I could actually find on the internet about this band. I do have a write-up on their website about what the band is, and I'm going to pull a few paragraphs out about it. But before we do that, this is my observations of what the music sounded like before we jump into songs. So it sounds like a mix of Journey, 38 Special, Terry Clark, and Boston. And I'm going to read off from their website a couple of paragraphs. Love Stallion won't be restricted to their home state long if they continue writing and recording songs this good, and their album will likely expand their possibilities in many ways they never imagined. That's very true. Inspired by the big rock sound of the 1970s and 80s, rock stars like David Lee Roth and Freddie Mercury, and dynamic bands like Van Halen, Kiss, and Def Leppard, Love Stallion is charging onto the music scene with original glamorous hard rock. The band's high-energy live performances, which we haven't seen, so we can't say that's a true statement. Flamboyant wardrobes with sequins, I've seen your Instagram, that's true. Spandex and leather, and their signature sexy disco legs have placed Love Stallion in the spotlight among Denver's hottest tickets. Unforgettable Ride is already garnering critical praise from some of music's top-ranked sites. We're going to tell you why that's true and why we agree with that statement right now. So, let's start off with the packaging. We don't have any packaging, so all we can do is grade it on artwork. So I'm going to give the artwork a 6.5 out of 10. I don't personally think that the black and the pink go well together, and that's the only thing.
That's what I like about it.
But what I do like about it is the horse and the heart in the center of the cover is very reminiscent of the Steve Miller Band logos from the 70s. You know what I'm talking about with the horses and stuff, and you don't know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The only issue that I have with that is I just feel like the black doesn't really blend well with the pink. I don't know, that's just kind of a personal preference for me. I think 6.5 actually might be a little bit unfair. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go with a 7. I like the pink and the black. It's nice and contrasty. It's very simple.
I think the cover personally could have benefited from a little more depth with the color.
A little more texture.
Yeah, texture and depth.
Maybe in the heart you could have some like designs or something. Maybe even like a faded landscape, just barely visible in it. I don't know, something like that.
I mean, the band, and this is based off their Instagram, but the band is so flashy, like with their sequins and stuff. Like they could have done the heart studded or a faded stud.
Or yeah, it could have even had just a simple gradient on it. You know, maybe some just a little bit of flair.
Or like the black on the cover could have faded from a dark black to a gray or something, just to give it.
Yeah.
It's and this is nitpicky stuff, but it's because it's not an actual album cover. It is on a CD, but everything like in modern bands today, most people don't go and buy CDs. They're gonna see what's online. So when you buy it from like iTunes or Google Play, when you see that when you're playing the music on your phone, I actually like seeing the album artwork. It's kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. But the simplicity isn't bad. I just think that with the simplicity, they should have emphasized the simplicity. You know what I mean?
Like, because it's a lot of simple elements. So you could have made the elements pop.
Exactly. The back is awesome too, with the darker pink horse in the corner and the track listings. And the front was really the only thing that kind of fell a little bit short, but not really. It's definitely an iconic cover for sure. But with that said, for artwork, we're both going to give it a 7 out of 10. And if Cupcake's okay with that, we're going to slide on over to songs.
Well, we can't do a thick scale because we don't have a physical album to review, so I'll just put something funny here. I don't know.
And with that, we're going to slide on over to songs. So, this album has 9 songs on it, and I think we should go over track listings first, and then we can talk about songs that we thought were average and then the stand-up songs. I think that's how we should do it for this album.
I just want to say before we get into the songs, 9 is the perfect amount just to debut an album with.
I agree
Nine
with
is
that.
the perfect amount of songs.
So let's go through the track listings real quick. Track 1 is Slow Release, followed by Ignite the Night, followed by Big Rock Radio, followed by Lazy Summer Dream, followed by Hide Me Away. Track 6 is Tinkered Voice. Track 7 is Valentine. Track 8 is High Time featuring Rochelle King. The last song on the album, track number 9, is titled Trans Am.
The album pretty much has a classic rock feel to the whole thing, except maybe towards the end a little bit when the riffs get a little heavier. I would say the middle of the album is probably my favorite point, where you have
Lazy Summer Dream, Hide
Lazy
Me
Summer
Away.
Dream and Hide Me Away. I really like those two songs.
You said you liked Slow Release and was it Ignite the Night too? You said you enjoyed those.
Yeah,
too.
I think I probably enjoyed the first side a little more than the second. I know there's not sides, but one thing I would say though, a lot of the songs have the same drum beat, you know, which is fine. I mean, it's rock, you know what? But like the tempo is usually the same. I think I just would have liked to hear a little bit more flavor in terms of the drums and the way the songs were set up, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that too, because like I thought you were going to say in the beginning there that the album has good geometry, but it isn't one of those where the
I say it does.
it has good geometry,
But it's just it's just kind of straight.
right. It doesn't. When we say geometry, we make jokes because it's straight lines, but for me, I want an album that like starts here and then boom, shoots right up here, but then you get a different flavor, you know. But there's still that there's a median ground where it stays in, where you know it's that band. And with this being their first album, they haven't defined who they are as a band yet, because they're doing it the old school way. They actually have talent. For me, the songs that I classified as average, they're good songs. Track 5, Hide Me Away, it was a great song. It just didn't really stand out. It was just kind of an eh. Number 6, Tinkered Toys, wasn't as good as number 5, and it was on the fence of being one of those where it was like the weakest link of the album, but it was still deserving.
Just a little bit, yeah.
That was probably the weakest of the album, in my opinion. Valentine was the best of the average songs, but it was just too cheesy for me to be considered a great song. It's a song about a Valentine, but it did have some very good lyrics. Number 9 was Trans Am. It had a great riff, and it was the heaviest sound on the album. It was so heavy, and then the lyrics came in, and it was kind of...
the vocals kind of didn't match the tone of the song.
Right.
And the vocals weren't bad at all. So it's kind of jarring to hear great vocals and a great riff, but
they were pulling.
They almost kind of,
you know, they were pulling apart instead of working together.
Then again, it wasn't even a bad song.
No, and I'm not saying it's a bad song. It's just for one of those.
It was a little weird.
Because of that pulling, that tension, it can't be a great song if their vocals were heavier and kind of a screaming rock.
Maybe not even change the vocals. Maybe just change the arrangement of the vocals.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might come in at a weird place on an off beat or something.
I think that song had the best solo though out of all the songs. The first song, Slow Release, I love that song. Ignite the Night, it sounds like Kiss's Dr. Love.
It does. It does.
It's like, it's not a blatant ripoff though, like it actually has its own flavor.
The riff is pretty similar, but then again, there's a Cinderella song that is literally Dr. Love's ripped straight out of it.
So, that's my favorite off the album. That's my favorite song on the album. Yeah, that one. Ignite the Night.
Ignite the Night was pretty great, actually.
Because they sound like 38 Special, Journey, and Boston in that song.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. It's awesome. Big Rock Radio is probably the weakest of the great songs. And the reason I say that is because when you first listen to it, like at the beginning of the song, it's kind of like, eh. But then it grows on you throughout the song.
It's a bit of a grower. It's a slow burn.
Yeah, so that one is definitely one that you gotta give it some patience to. Lazy Summer Dream is an awesome sound, and the last song for great songs is track number 8, High Time. It's a really upbeat and awesome song, probably the best dance song on the album. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 because it is their first album, but I also want to be like thorough. The music's here. This is hard, like through and through classic rock. Out of the great songs that I listed, there's probably 3 there, maybe 4 that will be carried on as hits for the band, in my opinion. They're going to start to develop their own sound palette, and so this scoring is kind of based on what they have right now. I don't know. I don't freaking have the ability to look into the future. I hope that the album is extremely successful for them because they have a really good sound. I just can't go any higher than an 8. And I think an 8 out of 10 is being fairly generous considering the materials here. But I think for some of the album, they kind of stayed in their comfort zone.
Yeah. Yes, actually.
Which is okay because it is their first album, but I hope that when they release their second album, that they experiment a little bit. I think that would be my biggest advice for them because they have a strong base now. They've confirmed it with this album. Now it's time to experiment with it. That's where I'm standing. So
I'm probably going to give it a 7 out of 10, and that might be kind of harsh because I know they're a new band and they sent us the album to review. For me, a lot of the songs are solid, but they kind of feel really similar. And like Russ said, they kind of stayed inside their comfort zone, I think. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, because they definitely have the talent, with their next album they'll probably start to kind of venture outside of that comfort zone a little bit. Because they definitely have the capability to do it.
The truth of the matter is they have a solid album here and they have a foundation. Their next album is, if they stick to what they've got, I think it's going to be awesome. And I hope they consider sending us the album to review when it comes out. I think you guys just got to go for it. The outfits that I've seen you guys wear on stage, that means you guys have nuts the size of watermelons, okay? So just take your cojones and take them with you to the music recording studio and freaking bend
Plug them into the amp.
For me, I'm going to stick at the 8 out of 10, Cupcakes at the 7. With that, I think we're going to slide over to how we think this album's going to hold up over time. And it's not going to be one of those that holds up, crazy over time. I think it's going to be a great foundation for what the band's going to become. They don't even have their second album yet. I don't even, So for me, I think I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10 for how it's going to hold up over time. As of right now, based on their website, they seem to be pretty popular in Colorado. So for me, 6.5, maybe a 7. I'm going to stay at the 6.5 just because it is a hard market. Classic rock is a hard market to sell today because most people in my generation don't like good music. Unfortunately, you're at a disadvantage but thankfully there's still people with good ears that enjoy good music. So I'll let Cupcake finish that statement because I might offend someone.
Well, I pretty much agree with Russ. I think a 6.5 is pretty perfect for this.
I think Love Stallion's got their stuff in the bag. I really appreciate you guys sending us this album. We've been meaning to do this for a long time. We are going to include most of their social media, if not all of it, in the description. You guys need to go check them out. These guys are awesome. Buy the album if you can. I believe they're selling it on Amazon. If not, it's on their website, which will be linked in the description below. Check us out on our social media. Love Stallion, this is one last note for you. Hopefully you guys enjoy this review, and we would love to work with you in the future. We'd like to get to know you guys on a first name basis, and hopefully if you guys start to tour out in the East Coast, we can come see you, or maybe we'll come out to Colorado and see you guys. We'd love to do something with you. But with that said, guys, I'm going to close up today's review and I give them a Cupcake sign off. Kind of smell like a cow.